Dreamers, believers, purposeful beings, I'm one half of Stay in Your Daily, and today we're talking to 3 critical things you need to do to submit better bids. But first, intro without music, right? We need a soundtrack. Let's kick to the intro. Beings, I'm one half of Stay in Your Daily, and today we have a guest. We have a guest, the other half of Stay on Your Daily, who really works behind the scenes, really doesn't like to show her face on camera, although she shares her face a lot on stages from NJIT. You did a TED Talk there. You spoke at the Latin STEM Scholars at Keene University and a plethora of other wonderful, they flew you to Chile to speak as well, Ingeniosas. And so a lot of great public appearances. She does a lot of work with her national not-for-profit Latinos in STEM. And today we're going to discuss bid work. And we have Jazz on the show. It's a show now. It's going to be a show. I have no microphone, no headset.
Why not? Listen, I've always said you needed a show. You know, yeah. I know I'm one of, your friends that definitely have always said that you need your own show. So
excellent. I appreciate that.
This is a good start.
Excellent. So one of the great things about what we've done over the last 5.5 years with SOYD is operations efficiency. And we've represented a plethora of different scaled clients in the realm of operations, day-to-day management. And I would just throw it out there, and Jazz could concur that that's really a wheelhouse of ours and really something you stand out at, and that's leadership and managing operations.
Yeah, I would say.
Excellent. She's very concise with her words. But we did want to talk about bid work today and why it's so imperative to have those leadership skills and managerial operations mindset when you're doing bid work, right? And to talk about bid work, we need to define bid work, right? Could you tell us what bid work is, Ms. Carvajal?
Hey, that wasn't one of the questions you sent over.
It's not one of the, and I didn't write the response for it either.
You just love trying to throw me off. All right, so bid work is essentially any type of work that is put out for when there is a request for proposal. Okay, so a request for proposal, usually it's government work, but there are private entities, corporations, developers that will put out work and request proposals from vendors. And it's everything from, in my world and in my career, it's in construction and construction management, but this goes into every type of service. So one of the biggest things that the services that big corporations go out for, and government agencies, nonprofits, they're always looking for different types of services. Everything from, think of like copy paper, equipment, teaching services, consulting services, the professions such as lawyers, engineers, but things like furniture is also something that they go out to bid. A summer concert series at a local town that's being funded by public funds, they're going to go out to entertainers. They're going to need a company that's going to put up the stage. They're going to need a company that's going to put up lighting. They're going to need a DJ, an MC. So really the range of services and products that are part of bid work is vast.
Excellent. Thank you for that long, drawn out Jazlyn Carvajal style answer. And
I was trying to be concise, but you put me on the spot. So that's what you get for not sending me.
That's why I write the bullet points. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about 3 key things you should be doing to write better bids, right? And here's something that I really appreciate, and that's why I wanted to put you on the spot, Ms. Carvajal, is because it's so critical for businesses, small business owners, mid-sized firms, whatever type of capacity you're operating in. As an entrepreneur, you need to realize that a majority of work that you can get out there in the world is not only private entities, right? Because and even in the mindset of the private entity, procurement, because bid work is procurement, right? Even in that realm, in the private sphere, you better know how to submit a bid. You better know how to write an RFP, right? We talk about it all the time. We try to get our clients in the practice of, even when they're doing B2B relations or working with the one-off client, to submit a bid. I mean, submit a proposal, which in all essence is a bid, right? And so just getting in the practice of writing that, there's a reason why we have a 95% conversion rate with the proposals we submit. We know what we're doing. So Ms. Carvajal, we're going to lay out the 3 main things you should be doing to land more bids. And the first one, I'm going to look at the notes real quick, is one that we talk about all the time. And we try to teach this in the primary school level when we do our after school programs and talk to 7, 8-year-olds, empathy, right? Listening to the client. And Jazz, take it, Ms. Carvajal, take it away from there. Tell me why empathy is such a critical component to landing more bids.
Well, you want to understand what the client needs. You know, first and foremost, you're going to have, if you're going to respond to a proposal, there is going to be some sort of document that is going to be put out. And if it's work with the government, trust me, trust us, though it's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. There are volumes and volumes of information. A lot of it, yes, it is boilerplate. Things like the sample contract. They're going to ask about insurances. They're going to ask about, are you, if you're a registered business, like all of your financials, right? They're going to ask all those things. But within that are the specifics of what they're asking for. And that's what you need to pay attention. There's also very likely a meeting that's going to happen. And this is, again, both for public and non-public work. You're probably going to meet the client at some point, usually early on, and the client usually wants to answer questions. They're going to want to explain to you what it is that they're looking for. They're going to ask for questions. Most clients understand that the information they're putting out may not have everything that you need in order to put the right price together. So you need to be able to ask questions. And the most important thing to do is to listen. You don't want to go into that initial meeting with a client selling, right? This isn't your sales pitch. That comes later down the line. If you get selected, if you're shortlisted, that's when you do your sales pitch. At the beginning, you are just listening. You're listening to what they want, what they need. Some of the questions, you want to come prepared with questions. Understand that client beforehand. Do some research before you meet them. Who are some of the key players involved in the project or in the procurement office? Maybe it's the business office. Understand who those players are. But really, you wanna understand what it is that they need.
Excellent, excellent. And the second thing, right, which I think coincides with listening, is a big component of why a lot of businesses price themselves out of the bid work. And this is risk assessment. Could you tell us the proper, let's say, the standard operating procedure that every business owner should take when they're doing their risk assessment and putting in that RFP, and sometimes putting too much risk in there, trying to cover all the bases, trying to submit the perfect RFP and bidding themselves out of work? Talk about what's bidding yourself out of the work and why risk assessment what's the proper approach to doing risk assessment?
So the first risk you want to evaluate is, who are your competitors? Who else is looking at this job, right? And does anyone have an in, right? Because very likely, if someone already has a previous existing relationship, maybe they've already been offering a certain service to this client, very likely that they're going to get the job again, unless they've royally screwed up, right? So you want to do some information digging on that end. As a business owner, you need to know your competitors, right? So wherever it is that you are going after a project, you want to know who your competitors are, right? So understand what their stakeholder is with that company, with that city, with that state. Understand that. So that really is that first risk, because that's right, never be cold. because you want to know, what are your chances? Do you have an actual fighting chance to win this bid? Because if you don't, it's best to just walk away. Why spend the time and energy and effort putting together a proposal that you know is basically a loser, right? You know you're not going to win it. It's already gone to someone else. But so that's really your first risk assessment. The second one is the scope something that you can actually handle, right? Do you have the resources to handle this? Say you actually win the job. What are the requirements? Something to, in those packets, part of the contract are the payment terms. That's something you really want to look at, because some companies and even government entities have a 30, sometimes 60, sometimes even a 90-day turnaround on payment. There are major contractors that might say, hey, you don't get paid unless we get paid. And what are that contractor's terms, right? If you're going to subcontract to a big general contractor, what are their payment terms? Do they have a 30-day agreement with the client? Do they have a 90-day agreement? What is it, right? You want to understand that, because as a small business, or as a business in general, you want to know, can I do the work and float that money, right? You want to be able to do a good job, right? Because at the end of the day, this isn't going to be the only job you're going to do. You want to have them this as either as a repeat client, or you want at least a good review, right? So that this person recommends you, or this company recommends you for future work. So that's your second risk assessment. And I think those two essentially would answer everything else, because you want to look at insurances, right? Are you qualified, right? Sometimes they have certain insurance requirements that you might not be able to meet. Maybe you might need to pick up the phone and call up your insurance broker and figure that out. But essentially from there, honestly, just take the time to read the documents and understand, is this something I can do, right? And when you're putting together your price, is it competitive? And that goes back to understanding your market, right? So if you know your competitors and you understand the market, you know what their pricing is like, you know where you need to come in order to win the job.
Excellent, excellent. Which leads in to, quite fittingly, to our last part, which is all about fit. Do the parts fit, right? And what we mean by that, right, is, are you assembling the right team, assessing that team, and culture building, right? Could we talk a little bit about culture building, especially, let's say, when you're not, and this could even afford itself to a manager who's handling a team that does bid work for, let's say, a construction firm, right? But it also lends itself to the small business owner who is putting together a bunch of different subcontractors to fulfill what is required in the RFP. So let's talk a little bit about that third component, which we think is critical in bid work, is putting together the right team. And how would you approach that?
Well, most clients are going to look at your experience, right? So for whatever job it is, have you done it before? That's literally it. So think about, it's the same as going for a job interview. What is your experience? Have you done this before? Will you be able to do a good job? Do you have any references? So it plays along those same lines, where the team that you assemble, you want to make sure that they're the right fit for the job. The second thing is, and this is part of that first step that you took in terms of listening, is if you listen very carefully and if you've done your research on your client, you also understand your client's culture, right? How they behave, what is it that they're expecting out of their team, out of the companies and the vendors that they hire. So you want to make sure that it is a right fit, right? If the company does things that, just doesn't match what you do, doesn't match your culture, if you have a company that is super formal, and you guys you're a young, hip company that, just doesn't, like to do things in a formal manner. You just like to send quick messages via text, and you handle, things very quickly by saying, hey, yep, got this, taken care of, done here. A very formal company that's not going to be a good match. That's going to be a client that's going to be constantly frustrated with you because you're not able to submit things in a formal manner. And vice versa. You might have a company that's super laid back and just wants to be hands off and just wants to know, hey, you got the job done. So understand those things about the company, understand what are going to be their expectations in terms of how you need to submit things, how you need to turn things in, and who are the players involved, right? What are their personalities like? And you want to make sure on your team, you have the right people matched up, right? Because the way that you're going to get, one, you'll be able to get paid quickly, right? If you have a good relationship with your client, you'll make sure that those payment terms are always met. You'll make sure that you're always meeting whatever expectations that they require. And very likely if you give them, if you have a good relationship, you'll make a good impression. And that means that they may ask you to come back for repeat business, or they may recommend you to another company. So those are the things that are super important in terms of that culture fit.
Excellent, excellent. And I think that summarizes it beautifully, right? We need empathy, right? Never being cold. We preach it all the time, right? I like to use acronyms and be very boisterous and flamboyant with the way we approach it, but it's because I have a fervor. Ms. Carvajal has that managerial mindset, that more suited up mentality of how she approaches things, but we're talking the same language. Never be cold. Listen to your client, right? Listening so that you're putting in the right numbers, putting in that right expectation, not overstepping the boundaries of what's expected, not over-promising, which is something way too many small businesses do, right? And they price themselves out of the market. They risk assess way too much. They try to do too much at once. They try to take on work that they can't handle. We say it all the time to small businesses. If I gave you 100 clients tomorrow, could you service them all the way they're supposed to be serviced? Then you don't need 100 clients. You need to scale your business correctly, right? So you need to have those proper expectations and the cultural buy-in, right? Put together and assess a team that could go after the same type of work so that you are literally becoming a redundant machine and identifying the proposals that you want to go out after every year, and create that team so that that bid work is quicker to do, that you have those metrics, right? Ms. Carvajal is fantastic at putting bid tasks together, right? Bid tabs, right? Bid tabs are huge in the business, right? There's a redundancy to there. There's a task list, right? Take a task rabbit, right? Think about that. It's so critical to have those infrastructures so that you can streamline these things. Because here's another thing that Ms. Carvajal said that was fantastic, and I'm just summarizing, Ms. Carvajal. One of the things that you said was fantastic is, could you float the work if your subcontractor is expecting monies, right? If you didn't put that in your perspective, if you didn't expect that, then you're dead in the water. Because now you're leveraging your business and hoping that you get a business loan. Good luck in today's climate to do something like that, right? And you're going to ruin that relationship, right? If that subcontractor is expecting to get paid 30-day out, right? And you didn't want to read a contract because you just wanted to land work, right? Go after the right proposals that are the right fit for you so you could grow your business the right way. And what do we do after that, Ms. Carvajal?
Stay in our daily.
Thank you for watching. Remember, we post every Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do business development and operation strategies. Our YouTube is dedicated to giving you better business practice tips so that you can vertical your business. Check out our website, www.stayonyourdaily.com. We have a bunch of content there, and you get a better gist of what Stay on Your Daily actually can do for your business. So guess what? Stay on your daily.